in with the same list, so they've definitely done some practice. And it's so interesting whenever you see a control deck at the beginning of a format, right? Because like you mentioned, we haven't had a tournament in a while, so you don't know what answers you need to bring yet. They
Yeah.
seem to have brought in the right tools for the job.
It's very interesting that the permafrost is in the market, and they don't have permafrost main, which could have been answers for thicker units. So I wonder if they just made the concession in deck building, like, hey, we're dealing with X3s for the most part. If we end up dealing with an X4, we will deal with like warning shots, with bullseyes, with like a torch plus a torch or a torch plus a soul flyer, and then cover it. Again, it only does 3 damage. It's honestly a lot of considerations go into this kind of thing, but there's a lot more four ofs than I would expect in a deck like this.
Well, the one interesting thing about the market too is that there's no top end market, right? This is
Yeah.
all. I mean, I guess you can make the argument for Reread or Tomb of the Azure Mage, but it's all cheap stuff that they can get back right away, or they can get and play immediately,
Right.
right? And I think that might be why they decide to go with things like Flicker and Permafrost, because it increases the chances that when they need something, they can play it the turn that they go grab it,
Yep.
versus playing it and then be like, all right, I hope they don't kill me this turn, and then play it the subsequent turn.
Right. And then there's also the notable exclusion of, was it Clan Standard, which turns into the deal 5 damage to an attacking enemy.
Oh yeah, I love that card too.
I remember LordPerth playing that against me, or it may have been Beard Broken. Somebody played against me in a Skycrag Control deck, and I thought that was a very interesting inclusion because I'm not used to seeing the defensive standards. I'm more used to seeing like the Shugo tactic and the Chronowatch tactic, and occasionally the Cabal tactics.
Mm-hmm.
Very rarely will we actually get to see the clan standard.
No, but it's solid. I mean, I've definitely put in a couple of my primal decks for sure. Just when you don't need any more power, having that extra Mola spell definitely comes in handy.
Yeah.
No, but I've been very impressed with this list so far. Very impressed with it. I like the synergies. All the Unleash works fantastic with Strategize and their market access. So yeah, very well flushed out list for sure. Can you highlight Tomb of the Azure Mage again? Or just for me, I want to go over. I know it's one of the slower cards, right? I believe it does damage equal to the spells in your void, and eventually it lets you play a spell from your void, if I remember correctly, or is it the other way around?
Tomb of the Azure Mage is a frenzy trigger that when you deal damage to the enemy player via like you or a unit that you control that is not attacking, you will draw a card and discard a card, and then you can ultimate to pay 8 and deal 1 damage to the enemy player for each spell in your void.
Got you. There it is. Yeah, that could do some serious damage with this deck. I mean, we saw those Arcano flies do what, 18 damage, 12 damage. So yeah, it's a good finisher.
Which again would be like an interesting thought process if you're thinking about a card like Touch of Wild, or ways to give the Arcano Fly Overwhelm, and playing that to deal damage to the face directly would be very interesting.
Oh my gosh, that would be so sick. Yeah, because you can also give it to your soul fires, right? And then so maybe the first one doesn't do it, but the second one or the third one that would be overkill instead goes face. Like,
that's interesting.
Or heaven
Cover
forbid,
the
there's some
storm.
kind of like yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's solid.
Wasn't there a combo like that with the legendary one that deals 7 damage to everything? I thought I saw someone make a deck like that.
I remember someone building a deck that gave the 7 mana, like deal 7 to all units, overwhelm, so that when you tried to wipe the board, it just crushed people.
That's the kind of stuff I live for.
Okay, so we are getting into the game now. And this is our top 4. LordPerth on Skycrag Control against Random on FJS Revenge. Who can generate more value?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting because it goes back to that life gain thing where you were talking about initially, where if you could start to make the number of spells that has to be spent to get you dead increase, then that starts to make the win con for this control deck a lot harder to achieve. And I mean, let me see. So some of their removal is sorcery speed, right? So I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting matchup.
I I also want to point out that Island's Favor and Cobalt Waystone are technically life gain spells in LordPerth's deck, because largely, aside from like Zito making them discard cards, it's just going to be eating a bunch of triggers from Through the Unknown and what is that card called? Stone Powder Alchemist. It's just
Yeah, yeah.
it's such an interesting way to think about things, where a lot of these cards are performing utility that they're not normally thought of as.
No, I agree. I agree. And there we go. Piercing Grief coming in.
I
Lord
love this
Perth is
hand
gonna be.
from Perth, but I wish that we had more revenge cards on the side of random.
I agree. Yeah, especially with reanimation spells and really I don't there other than Barbarian, there's no good targets for that Defile in this list, right?
Yeah, so Barbarian I think is the only actual target, and it would really be nice if we could have a way to discard it and loot it away, but I don't think random is packing that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's one of the fun parts of running control, right? Is that you just kind of naturally blank your opponent's removal half the time.
Yeah.
Not always, depending on the list, but sometimes you get to, and that's always a feel good.
It's a similar scenario with random though, where a lot of times the FJS Revenge deck can just take as long as they need to against control because they have no pressure whatsoever. And yes, LordPerth has a bunch of removal that still does work, but do you really want to spend your removal spells on these revenge cards, or do you want to just start like going to face?
Yeah.
Like
And there's
Torch
your
is gonna
answer.
see. This is where I was also thinking, like, do you start going to grab the Tomb of the Azure Mage if all of your burn spells are going to be going to face? Do you instead just want to um, start having those like burn spells doing damage to the player and looting you away through the cards that are not useful, like these Cover from the Storms? And this is where we see this delivery to start that thought process.
Yeah, the one thing we did see random give up or pitch those two shoot, what's the board wipe again?
Full tilt?
Full tilt, thank you.
Yep.
And which is interesting because I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not gonna be great in this matchup, but since the file's not gonna hit anything, that's kind of gonna be your next go-to as far as removal goes. And you still have a chance of getting a 2-for-1. So then again, I guess Piercing Grief trades with everything that Lord Perth is gonna be playing, so
Mm.
ooh.
Denying the life gain off of the Piercing
Yeah,
Griefs.
that's definitely a signal right there. The fact that that's going on, and they get to buy it right back with another adept.
I doubt they will, though. They're probably just going to grab back the Soulfires over and over again as
Oh
their.
yeah. Good point.
There's just like a way to remove the opponent as soon as possible, because you can double Soulfire here, leaving up um, the bullseye. Ooh, grabbing Torch back. Oh, we already grabbed the Soulfire back, so we couldn't. It already has Voidbound. We can't grab it again after it goes to the bottom. Let's see. We've got another Piercing Grief.
Let's see, 18.
Ooh.
So if they deny this, they swing back, take them down to 12.
No, we're definitely getting full tilted here. There's no way that these adepts stay on the board.
Yeah. Yeah, if not, that was gonna be a heck of a turn because they had a Soulfire in hand.
Yep. That would have been a nice, what, at least 10 damage from Soulfires? There it is. There's that
Oh,
tomb.
buddy.
We're going to start looting through to the burn spells. And I was playing around with a lot of Skycrag Control decks that were playing 4 tombs main with 4 warding beacons as a way to like get you that card advantage by looting away echo cards.
Mm-hmm.
But this seems like a much more, you only grab the tomb when you know it can't be dealt with via like having access to all this Aegis and making sure that the opponent is, I guess, not you don't lose a lot of your card advantage if you don't have the tomb in play, kind of thing. You play the card advantage through your draw twos.
LordPerth being pretty aggressive here with this burn to the face, which I mean I can understand, right? They get to loot, find their answers, but this the haste or charging aspect of this piercing grief makes their removal a little more difficult to deal with for sure.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
then permafrost doesn't do much because their random is running devour, so they can out card them. And I think it's possible. I think this control list, seeing what they do, I think it is possible for them to out card draw the FJS list, but I don't know if that is going to be enough to get them over there, because I mean LordPerth doesn't have any life gain, right? They have a finite amount of life. So if random can kind of weather the storm, pun intended, then
that is a good use of Flicker.
Yeah.
Using it to gain 6 life. And also stop the opponent from gaining 6 life. It's going to start being a problem when random plays these Argenport blueprints and gets back the griefs with Aegis.
Yep. Now the trick is going to be if we can draw those barbarians to break those heirlooms before they get to crack.
That is true.
I mean, the window's going to be pretty small, but it is doable.
It's also a similar argument of, can we draw the barbarians out of random side to kill the tomb before it can activate for lethal, I guess. It can activate already. There we go. There's the first one.
I pulled a U.
Ooh. And that was actually a nice crack immediately.
I didn't even realize that was so high. Holy cow. Yeah.
Yep. The tomb is a great card. I think
that was absolutely backbreaking.
Like, Tomb enabled this deck, I think, more than Full Tilt did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. 100%. And that explains why they were so aggressive with their burn to try to keep things low. It definitely, like, it makes sense, right? Stopping them, it doesn't seem like a lot going from 18 to 15 and them getting back up to like 17 or whatnot, but it definitely shortened the time span it needed to activate. And they were just biding their time. And then, yeah, they're like, look, you didn't gain enough life. And it goes back to what you mentioned, where they used the flicker to stop them from gaining 6, and that made the difference.
Yep. It was that 6 damage, for sure.
Game number 2, random on the play, starting off with a... I keep wanting to say Rakdos. It's not Rakdos.
FJS.
Stomskar.
Oh,
Stomskar power.
Oh, okay.
They're going to go ahead and pitch power, which I guess that makes sense, right? They can immediately get it back here with the favor. They're going to. Though, if you look on the other side, there is a cannon that they may or may not fire off. Cannon did some work previous. Oh, no, I'm not. No, I didn't.
It's interesting that they would pitch the power not like an Arcanofly, because I'm not sure how much use Arcanofly has in this matchup.
I agree. I think considering how last game went, they really want to hit their power drops.
Yeah. Making sure that you can get to that 8 to activate the tomb in the first place was the main problem that I was having. Like, when you're looting away, you have to continue to play your power drops every turn. You can't just do the thing that you want to do of like, oh, I'll just loot away the power every turn. You need that 8 power in order to trigger the ability, or you're not going to win the game.
And I think we see that you see random fire off the Alchemist first, not caring about how much damage they were doing, but rather making sure they can get a card out of LordPerth's hand, valuing that card advantage, trying to get LordPerth to top deck, because it was back to what we said, right? The LordPerth managed to have practically a full grip the entire game. And I think that's one of the ways that this control list is going to get ahead, is by simply outdoing their card advantage, their recursion, with just sheer raw card advantage.
Yep.
2 full tilts.
Full tilt. Oh, goodness. Yep. That's not what you want to see when you're random.
I mean, it's not horrible either, right? Ooh. Man, there you go. That's exactly what it is, man. The 1 mana or 1 and 2 power spells that they could just fire off immediately after going to the market. Granted, all 3 of these are going to have revenge, but they save themselves a ton of life. They get to keep up full tilt if they need to. Let's see what they do here. They're going to fire at the Adept. And it's
Grabbing
going to
back the
get the
flicker.
flicker, which negates cannon.
It also negates the set of attackers again as well.
True, yeah,
And it
very
can
true.
negate a full tilt from the opponent if you actually want to keep around your adept.
So they'll send it back, and they get to draw 2 cards. Yeah, this is looking. We're starting to kind of see this deck do its thing.
Do you protect the adept here?
I don't think so, and that's
Alright,
why
well,
I'm wrong.
it's just a difference of opinion, right? Like, I understand that you hold up the power for it anyway, you might as well do it. I'm not sure about, like, doing it before knowledge. I think I would like to, like, knowledge to draw 2 cards because that was my plan anyway, and then after that say, like, okay, so do I want to tilt, or do I want to, like, stop the tilt and keep the dude in play? And that may depend on if I draw, like, a burn spell or something.
Yeah, I mean, Adept is really powerful in this list, right? Giving just the additional 1 damage to all your spells is huge, but at the same time, it's only 1 creature. It's taking their whole turn. You have other things to do. You know, I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, we're seeing them immediately grab the tomb. Wait, what just happened? Oh, it got tucked into the
Yeah,
deck. Okay.
that sucked.
Okay. But I guess that's their game plan, right? Put as much into the void as possible. They're 1 power away from being able to dome them. Oh man, yeah. All right, I get it. I see the light. This is, yeah. There's no
I
life
mean, you
gain.
see the darkness, right? It's a tomb. You're
Yeah,
gonna
true,
die.
fair. See what you did there. And do we just see an untap and 18 of
Is
the
this?
face?
Nope, it
No,
is
it's
not
not enough.
lethal
Not
yet.
enough. Fair. And is that an ultimate, or can you do it
It is an
multiple
ultimate.
times? Okay,
It is
all
an
right.
ultimate. That would
So they
be
have to do the kill shot.
absurd. I can only imagine if you could do it more than once.
Okay. Still doesn't change the clock with the torch in hand. They untap, they torch, and then they dome you. Okay. Okay.
That's a
Oh,
Soulfire. Interesting. Is the second one going to go to the 2-1 to stop them from getting life? Because that's basically the same clock rate.
no, I mean, you know there's a pause, so I don't know if you think about the uh
Yeah,
what is it?
the Shugo
Pull from
tactic
behind?
to hide the Devour, right? Where, like, you think it's a Devour, but it's actually a Shugo tactic the whole time.
Boom. I mean, now I don't even think they can gain enough life.
Yeah, what a deck.
That I have my hats off to Team Not Tavrod.
If you had asked me what was going to make the finals, I would not have said a Skycrag Control list. Honestly, my bet was on Spiff because Spiff has been putting in so much work for this tournament, and that Valkyrie's deck was great. I think that's it for, what, like 17 is what it said?
Yep, 17. Nicely done, LordPerth. Great navigation of a deck,
Lord
Random.
Perth. Congratulations, Random, on making top 4 with your $25 runees. And LordPerth, congrats on making it to the finals. Do we have another game ready for us? Okay, cool.
I'm a believer, man. I'm a believer. The Skycrag list has some legs. We've seen it take down 3 archetypes now.
So we've seen it take down Revenge, we've seen it take down Life Gain, and we've seen it take down
Mandrakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do really wonder what its matchup against Combre is. I think Combre was not brought this week at all. Like, there was no Combre aggro and there was no Combre ramp. But I think Combre ramp runs over Mandrakes. Like, it just goes too high. You play the From the Heavens, wrath their board, make a bunch of flyers. They can't reassemble fast enough before you just deal them damage with the flyers. But I wonder if it can go big enough to deal with this Skycrag deck, because you're putting in this Omen Scar Worm. We are good to go to the next match.
They just blast everything face, right? They're just like, all right, I'm gonna burn.
Yeah, that's like why I'm wondering, because I wonder if it's like fast enough with the ramp deck having like Speed Grafter for Grumbo's platoon, the Omen Scar Worm to like outdraw potentially. I do wonder if it's a good matchup or not.
Let's see.
So we're playing
33-4. Oh, 1-1.
Mm.
Is it wrong to me to want to see the control mirror? Because I think they're just gonna
Oh
sit there
goodness.
trading blows to the face.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty fast mirror actually. They're just gonna start burning each other's face, and then we're gonna see explosions, and then the game's gonna be over. Uh,
All right, let me see. So untapped. They're not dead. Oh yeah, they are. They are dead, aren't they? Whose turn
uh,
is it?
Speed Crafter for the Overwhelm, right? It looks
Yeah.
like it's Marvin's turn. Otherwise, I think this game would be.
Yeah, this looks like game, unfortunately. Oh, so close. Well played, Marvin. Well played, Phoenix. Oh gosh.
Oh, we were on Phoenix's turn
Oh,
discussing whether or not we were going to like choose certain things for machinations. That's where we came in.
okay, okay. Wait a minute. There. Okay. So there's some action here. Full tilt. We
Full
don't get to
tilt.
clear the board, but you get to play the other adept to protect.
Right, but so full tilt only kills 2 units here. Because the 3/5,
Oh,
the 2/2, and the 2/2 stay alive, and then there's a speed crafter for charge, and the
yep,
speed
yep,
crafter can put away what they're gonna grab and probably get, I don't
yep.
know,
Nope, you're
something.
right. You right. You right. See, that's why you're a pro, man.
I mean, I'm in the booth just like you. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, wait, that does 2 damage. Oh, wait, but yeah, they still got. Oh, so close. This deck is sweet, man.
Oh goodness.
All right, they were dead 6 ways from Sunday, but
Yep.
still, like, super cool, super cool.
Nice showing.
Congratulations. Yeah,
Good showing, Team Not
congratulations,
Time Rod.
Phoenix.
You made one person go to the finals, one person made the top four. It's a sweet deck.